it was starting, but people were saying that they couldn't see or something, or couldn't hear or something. So I don't know if you want to do this. We're live, by the way. Just to let you know. We don't say anything about pets or anything. But if you want to do this, you can like pull up the YouTube stream. Oh my gosh, do you hear her whining because I put her down?
Yeah.
If you want to pull up the YouTube stream on your computer on like a different tab, then you can kind of see the comments for afterwards if you want to answer questions. Or if you don't even want to look at that, I can bring it up so I can ask you the questions at the end.
Okay, that sounds better. I'll get distracted.
Yeah, don't look at them like while you're speaking. I'll just have it up and then I can say some of them. Oh, good. There's people on. Whoa, 20 viewers already. You're so popular, Em.
Hey. It's ready. It's all good. That's all people want to see.
My Lord. She's like the longest dog in America.
Yeah, she's like the size of your body.
Like she's the size of a human torso. I don't understand. Can you look at her?
I can't do anything.
Help me. I'm trying to.
Baby.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. 8:03. I will introduce you, and then I'll just mute my mic so that my face doesn't pop back up, and I'll make you the presenter.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. It is officially the 17th of January, which is insane. Our month is 3/4 of the way over. Tonight, I am super, super excited because we have Emily talking to us, who is just a straight up rock star on our team. And she's a star diamond. She is a team leader on the leadership ladder. She has lost almost 100 pounds. She's basically Superwoman. And she's been super sick for pretty much the last 2 weeks and still took the time to put this call together, make some slides, put together some insane content. And that to me is the definition of a leader, somebody who always shows up no matter what. That's something that I really, really admire. So without further ado, I just wanted to say a couple things. If you guys are tuning into these calls and you're not taking notes, or better yet, taking action, that is a really big no-no. These calls, for me at least, in the beginning of my business, were game changers. Like I would hear things on these calls that would make light bulbs go off, that would make me think about the business in a different way, that would give me ideas that gave me a competitive edge. And I absolutely loved getting on, especially live with everybody. So if you are on this call and you see somebody who you normally see in the team page that isn't on this call, or you have a success partner or a friend in the business who isn't on this call, tag them and then get your notepad out, because there's going to be a lot of actionable items today that Emily's going to share that can really, really help you move forward and have that competitive edge. So Emily is going to talk about, and I've seen some of the slides, so I kind of cheated, but tonight she's going to talk about rocking your day. When I first asked Emily to be a host on the team call, I like to give all of the diamonds and above on the team a chance to talk, just because they have something valuable to share and they're doing the activities every day. But I really wanted Emily to kind of simplify how she's gotten to the point she is now. And she's a full-time coach, full-time mom, full-time wife, how she juggles everything, and kind of make it simple and like actionable items. So she named the call Rock Your Day, which I love. And the slides are beautiful and really actionable. So Emily, whenever you are ready, you can go ahead and start.
Hey guys. Okay, so I'm super excited to be able to talk to you guys today. I may be less enthusiastic than I normally am, but that is because I do not feel my best. I do have slides though, because otherwise I would get all squirrely. So I'm going to screen share. Bonnie, can you see that? Okay. Why can't I? How do I make it like big? Because I can just see your face.
What do you mean you can't see? Okay, hold on one second.
Oh, wait, now I got it. I got it now. I had to make mine bigger and you smaller. I got it.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. What is going on? Hang on a second. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry. Okay, Bonnie, do I just have to go to like the screen that it's on? Because it won't let me do it from like Google Hangouts.
Yeah, so if you just have the slides up and you click next on the slide.
Okay.
Yeah, like I can see your mouse moving right now.
Okay, perfect. We're good?
Perfect.
Okay. All right, so I want to talk to you guys today about rocking your daily business. So often we kind of focus, especially in January, like everyone else, we're kind of looking at what are our big year goals? What's our New Year's resolution? What big thing are we going to make happen over the course of the next, 365 days? The problem with that and only focusing on that is you kind of lose sight on, in order to get to 365 days from now, you actually have to go through 365 individual days. So you have to be rocking those individual days. Otherwise, those big goals aren't going to happen. So you have to be setting your intentions daily. You have to be doing things daily. Otherwise, you're not going to get to where you want to go. So that's what I want to kind of go over today. At the bottom, I'm just going to tell you guys this right now so you guys can pay attention to the bottom of my slides as well. I put quotes from the book that I'm reading right now, which is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about because it's all about compounding everything over time. So you can't get to a year from now unless you go through all of the days. But I want to start with, Bonnie kind of went over, my story. I am a mom of 3. My kids are 7, almost 5, and 2.5. I've been coaching since they were little. Or littler. I'm super busy. I started my coaching career 2 years ago, and I was actually a full-time university student. I took all of my university classes online, so I was super busy with raising my kids and teaching myself and doing readings and essays and projects and all of that stuff to finish up my undergrad. So I'm going to show you guys a little later on how I went from scheduling my day then to how I scheduled my day now, because being a full-time student to being a full-time employee, a full-time mom, whatever it is, we all have to juggle something. So I wanted to show you guys kind of how I have transformed my schedule over time. But I also have to juggle school activities and all of that stuff. But the real big thing when it comes to my story, I have always had a drive for change. So no matter what it has been, if it's been my weight loss, which like Bonnie said, I've lost 96 pounds with our programs, I've had a drive to do that. I've had the drive to succeed in my business. So if you take anything from what I'm saying, in both my business and in my fitness journey, I have always pushed forward to make those small things every single day, every day. So at the bottom, in essence, you make your choices and then your choices make you. You're not going to get anywhere without making those choices. And if you make the wrong ones, well, then they're not going to get you where you want to go. They're probably going to get you in the opposite direction. So first and foremost, we probably talk about this like 400 times a day, and you're probably sick of hearing it, but that's probably a good thing. You have to do your vitals. I make sure that I schedule in my vitals every day. They're vitals for a reason. When you go to the hospital, they check your vitals. They check to make sure you're breathing. They check to make sure that your heart is pumping. They're vitals because if you don't have either of those, you're probably dead. So if you're not doing these things, your business is probably dying, if not already dead. So you need to revive your business. You need to bring it back to life by doing these things, and you have to do them every day. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. It doesn't matter what bad thing, good thing, hectic thing has happened. I have always shown up for these things every day. And I'll give you guys an example. Last year was one of the most outrageously hectic years of my life. I had deaths in my family. My daughter was having seizures. We had brain surgeries. We had broken bones. We had all kinds of crazy, crazy things happening. And no matter if I was in the emergency room, driving to a funeral, driving to a hospital, driving to pick up my kids or whatever, as long as I was the passenger, I was working on my business. And if I wasn't the passenger, you can guarantee that I was listening to personal development. I always showed up for my business. I fitted in the cracks. I made sure that at the bare minimum, even when things were crazy, I got in my personal development. I made sure to take care of me. So I was a product of the product. I always invited, even if that was just 2 or 3 people. I showed up. I made sure that I made connections. And I always make sure to recognize the people that I'm working with. If it's my coaches, if it's my challengers, if it's in personal messages, if it's in, public conversations or like public posts in my team page and my challenge groups, I always make sure that I show up because these things are going to compound. These things are going to, if you're doing your personal development, well, in bad times, you should probably be doing more because they're going to be the things that pull you out and make you look at the situation in a completely different perspective. They're going to help you better yourself despite business. They're going to help you on a personal level. So it's good to make sure that you're doing that. Being a product of the product is going to show consistency, even in the hard times last year, even in the hard times in the last 2 weeks. I have made sure that I have been a product of the product. Even if I haven't been able to work out the last 2 weeks, I drink my shake every day. I eat to plan. I share how I'm getting through because people want to see real, raw, like what is it that you do and why does it work? And if you're not showing up in like the kind of hard times, the kind of busy times, people are going to use those things as excuses, as objections, because they're going to be like, well, you're doing that too. So you really don't have like a leg to stand on if you're not showing up too. Inviting, you can squeeze that into the cracks of any part of your day. Like it doesn't take a very long time. Nobody's asking anybody to invite 20, 30, 40 people. Invite 3 to 5 people. That doesn't take very long, but it's going to compound. Every day, new people are going to be paying attention to you. So on the bottom, small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equals a radical difference in your business. It's going to make huge differences. It might not seem like it after 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, but it doesn't happen in your weight loss or in a fitness journey either. In 5 or 6 days, when our challengers get discouraged, we're not like, okay, we'll give up, throw in the towel, return it. That doesn't happen. We tell them, wait out the process. So wait out the process. Now, this is the biggest thing that I can tell you guys when it comes to kind of getting through your day. Have a plan. Have a planner. Have it in your phone. Have it somewhere, but have a plan. You can't wing a business. You don't go into like an office of Walmart or McDonald's or a big corporation and have everybody kind of just like sitting there in, t-shirts and shorts, not really having a plan. Like they're not like partying in the office, having a great time, not knowing what's going on. Like they have a plan, they have a structure, they have jobs to do, they have something that's getting them from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So have a plan. You're not working 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, but that doesn't matter. You still have to have a plan. So pick a day of the week. For me, it's generally Sundays. I sit down at the end of my weekend after spending time with my family and I plan out, okay, so when am I speaking on calls? When am I doing calls? What calls do I have to get on for my new coaches? How can I help my challengers? What am I doing each day? I plan out every minute from my business to my kids to time with my husband. I literally have an alarm on my phone that says, Emily, stop working, go and talk to your husband. Like, maybe not in those words, but it literally is like a reminder because I can get lost in my work. I can get lost in what I'm doing and forget that it's, 11 o'clock at night. But you have to have some kind of guideline on what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. So have a calendar, figure out a schedule. The reason that I put this into quotations is because your days are not always going to be the same. So if you are, like me, a stay-at-home mom, well, then probably your kids never want to cooperate. And so your day might not look the same every day. But that doesn't mean that you don't have an idea, a sketched out plan of, okay, well, generally I can fit in this during nap time, or I could get up half an hour before them because they generally wake up at this time, or whatever. Have a kind of, not in stone, so don't get discouraged, but have a schedule that can be flexible. Get it in the cracks of time. Set work hours. Oh my gosh, I wish that I had listened a lot more in my first year of business, because I never set work hours, ever. I kind of just worked, and then I would feel like I was working all day, and then I would get mad at the fact that I felt like I was working all day. And it was the fact that I never put any boundaries on work and home life. I never gave myself work hours. And with not having work hours, you kind of end up being all over the place. You aren't sitting there like, okay, I have an hour, I have to get this done, this done, and this done, and you're like in and out. Instead, you're kind of like, oh, well, I have like the whole day, so I'm going to like do this. I'm going to scroll through Facebook. I'm going to go on Pinterest. I'm going to get lost on YouTube. And like, you just end up getting nothing done. If you have work hours and you have a plan, you're going to sit down during those work hours, get things done, and be able to get in and get out. And you're going to love the business a lot more, because you're going to actually see the freedom that it gives you. Lastly, remember that this is a business. So a business opens at a certain time and a business closes at a certain time. If it's a 24-hour business, okay, like McDonald's is open 24 hours. The same people aren't there from like, the day before all the way through to the next day. Like, that doesn't happen. But they have a time where they are starting their work, they are finishing their work, they are focused on what the task is at hand. So if you want the business to give you business results, if you want the business to be something that can be a full-time thing, or can pay off debt for you, or can get you business results, business goals, then treat it like a business. Remember, it is a business, and set those guidelines for yourself, for your own sanity, because that's going to get you more laser focused. And that was something that I really, really, really struggled with. So at the bottom, you will never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success is found in your daily routine. Seriously, it is true. I have changed everything since probably like last June in my business, and have seen a lot of growth because I get in and I get out. I stay focused. I have certain days for certain tasks, and I don't feel squirrely because I can be like that. And if you're like me, it's like a shiny object. As soon as you see something, you're like, oh, that's cool. And then all of a sudden you're like off in some weird website looking at like other personal development stuff, or like workout t-shirts, because that always happens to me. So if you have a plan and you have things that you're kind of looking at a list and putting into play, your business is going to give you business results because you're business focused and you put your plan into action. So a schedule looks different on everyone, but that doesn't mean that you can say, well, a schedule doesn't work for me. Well, okay, maybe my schedule doesn't work for you, or Bonnie's schedule doesn't work for you, but there is a schedule that works for you. So you have to find one that suits you. You have to find one that suits your life, that suits your day, and maybe that looks different every day. Maybe you're somebody that works, days during switch to overnights the next week. Well, then your schedule is obviously going to change, but you have to have a schedule. You have to have something that you're putting into action. Find something that suits your life, that suits your family, and that you can work with. And it's going to mean sometimes that you're going to have to make sacrifices. For me in the beginning, it was, I had to take away, a lot, well, not really a lot, but like the 1 or 2 TV shows that I watched once or twice a week. I had to take those away. They didn't fit in my schedule anymore because I needed to get in personal development, or I needed to get in a team call, or I needed to send out more invites, or whatever. You have to find the time, because there is the time. It's just a matter of how are you using it. We all have the same 24 hours. So you have to find something that suits you, and it might take a feeling out process. It might take time for you to figure out, okay, well, I'm not a morning person, so it doesn't make sense for me to get up at 5 a.m. because I'm not really productive. It makes more sense for me to stay up until midnight. Maybe that's for you. Maybe working until midnight is something that's going to benefit you because you think better and work better during those hours. that was something that I had to figure out too. I can't get up super early, even though I want to, because I just want to go back to sleep. So I'm not productive. So I work a little bit later during the week. That's okay, because it suits my life, my family life, and it suits my business. The other thing that I really want to touch on, which Bonnie and Andrew touched on, the importance of, including your spouse and talking to your spouse and having them understand all of those things, but have that conversation. I had to, and my husband is super, super supportive, so I'm lucky in that sense, but we still have had to have conversations about me keeping him in the loop of, I have a team, I had a team call tonight. I was speaking on a team call. So I had to let him in to know, okay, well, please don't bother me. Don't talk to me or anything, because I'm busy between 8 and 9. And I let him in on what's going on and what my schedule is going to look like for the week, or if it's going to be a little bit different, or if I need an extra couple of hours on a Saturday morning to get some stuff done because I have this big thing that I want to get done. Have that conversation and talk about how important it is to you and to what you want and where your life could be if you put in that time, if you sacrifice that little bit of time to make room for your schedule, to make room for that plan so that you can hit those goals. But having that conversation is huge. If you don't have that conversation, which I didn't really in the beginning, because I was in school full time and I kind of was used to like doing papers or whatever. And then it ended up, instead of me doing papers for an hour, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm already doing homework, so I'll just switch over and do Beachbody stuff. And I never had that conversation. So then my husband was like, okay, well, like, where are you? Because I would be gone doing my own thing for like 3-4 hours. And then that would happen like every night and we wouldn't talk for like a week. So you have to have that conversation. You have to keep communication open so that they understand why it's important to you and how they can help and what your schedule is going to look like. Because maybe they're going to have input. Maybe they're going to have something that they're doing or that they want you involved in, and it's just not going to work. So you can tweak it a little bit, but you have to have a schedule. So here, I'm going to give you guys 2 examples. The first one being when I started my coaching business at the beginning of 2015, and then the next one being what my schedule kind of looks like now. So at the beginning of my coaching journey, I was, like I said, a full-time student. I was a mom of 3. My youngest was only, she wasn't even a year yet. So I had a lot going on in my home life. I had a lot going on to finish my undergrad. I had a lot going on. So that meant that I didn't have a lot of time to work my business. And it really worked out in the wash to not really be that much time at all. So when I talk to people about coaching, it's all about how you use the time you have. So I would wake up a little bit earlier than my kids. I would just do a challenger check-in. So I would jump into my challenge groups. I would do my post for the day. I would jump in to my team page. And well, not really in the beginning because I didn't have one, but eventually I would jump into my team page and share a little bit of personal development. That was literally it. I didn't have time for much else because my kids were up and they were demanding and I was nursing and it was a lot. So my kids needed my attention. That's why I was doing my undergrad. It was why I was doing, jumping into coaching. So I was in and I was out. I schedule my workout. Guys, it's part of your plan. It's part of your job. It's part of what we do as coaches. You have to show up. You have to be a product of the product. So I schedule my workout. Even to this day, I schedule my workout. So I would do my workout in the, middle of the morning, because if I do it any later, I just don't want to do it. And I turn into like a 3-year-old and whine and cry about it. So I would do it early in the morning. And because I didn't have a lot of time, because my evenings and the rest of my day was either kids or doing university readings, I would put personal development on YouTube and I would just listen to motivational, compilation 1-hour things while I was doing my workout. I was doing both at the same time. Then I didn't have to worry about fitting in personal development. I already got it done. My kids would go down for a nap and I had to use that time to finish papers, to do readings, to do all kinds of stuff. So I didn't have a ton of time to do invites or to do extra stuff. I just didn't. So I would give myself from 12 to 12:30, half an hour, that's it. And I would just do invites. That's all I would do. I would talk to new people. I would create connections. I would just talk to as many people as I could for half an hour. And then I would turn it off and I would go into, student mode. I went from mom mode to coach mode to student mode. And then my kids would wake up and then I was back to mom mode. My kids would go to bed I would do final check-ins. I would jump into my challenge group, see how everybody was doing. I would, return any like immediate messages that were from any of my challengers that were in my group if they had questions about the meal plan or about a workout or whatever. If there was anybody that was like ready to order or ready to jump into my groups, I would return those messages. Any other ones I didn't answer. And then I would do a few follow-ups. If I had people that were kind of on the fence or people that I, knew might be ready around that time, I would do some follow-ups. And then that was it. Because again, I had to go back to student mode. I was like 3 months away from finishing my undergrad. I wasn't prepared to throw away 4 years of my undergrad. So I finished that and I had to make time for it. So what does this tell you? It tells you that you can fit coaching in no matter what your schedule looks like. Because if you really add up all of the time there, it was maybe an hour. That's what I put into my business in the very beginning for the first like 4 to 6 months. That's all I put in. Now, my life is a little different. I finished my undergrad. I was able to finish my undergrad and come right into coaching full-time. So I coach full-time. 2 out of 3 of my kids are now in school. My 2-year-old refuses to nap, so my day looks completely different. I get up at 5:30 in the morning and I do personal development. That is literally just me rolling over in my bed, turning my alarm off, turning the flashlight on my phone. I'm not even lying to you people. Like, I'm not. This is like, again, I throw out the excuses because I will not get out of my bed if the sun isn't up. So I roll over, I turn the light on my phone, like the flashlight. It lights up my whole room and I read my personal development. Or I'll just throw in my earphones or headphones into my phone and I'll listen to YouTube. I don't even get out of bed. I'll do that for half an hour and then I jump into my challenge groups. I post in there. I'll go through my inbox to see if that's like in Messenger and in my emails. I check to see if I have anything to return, like any messages to return. I return all of those. I do some follow-ups and then I'll schedule a post on my like page. That's it. I'm done. Now I'm in mom mode. I do mom mode, I get my kids to school, I get them ready to go, and then I come back, and again, my workout is scheduled. I have my workout between 10 and 11. It's done. I do a post about it, and then I generally just like eat a lot of food, and then I, some people might look at me and be like, oh, you're a bad mom, but my kid needs time away from me, and I need time away from my kid too. So she has quiet time at 1:30. And that's sometimes her sitting and coloring beside me while I do this. That's sometimes her sitting and watching a movie. Whatever it is, I take about half an hour to an hour and I have quiet time. She doesn't nap anymore, so we have quiet time still. I do my check-ins. I jump into my group, see if anybody has questions. I do my invites. I do my scrolling through Instagram and scrolling through Facebook to like and comment on people's photos. I just spend time connecting. Half an hour to an hour a day of just me connecting with as many people as I can in that amount of time. And then I'm back in mom mode. I do all the wife stuff. And then my kids go down at 7. By 7:30, I'm generally in the clear and they're all asleep. So I work from 7:30 until 10 o'clock because that's when I'm most productive. That's when I can do team calls and I can do more invites. And I always do more invites. I reach out to as many people every day as I can. And then I do extras. So I'll create graphics for the next day, or if I have like an aha moment while I'm listening to a team call, then I'll like write out like a post for the next day maybe, or I will create other stuff that I'm working on for my business if I have time for that. If it's 10 o'clock and I literally spent, which has happened, 2.5 hours of just simply inviting, then, well, that's what builds my business. So I don't worry about the extra stuff. If I have time for the extras, I do that. If I don't, then I don't do it. It's those things, the graphics, the extra stuff, the flowery, pretty stuff, isn't the stuff that's going to build your business. It's the vitals. It's the stuff that we generally are like, ugh, I don't want to do those things. I'd rather play on PicMonkey. Well, don't play on PicMonkey. Put it away and do something else. Do the things that you don't want to do because they're probably the things that are going to build your business. So that's what my life looks like now, generally. Today, as a perfect example, I was in the hospital for almost 5 hours today. So my life didn't look like this. My kids were home. It was a no bus day. I had to bring all 3 of my children to the ER with me. And I didn't have a day like this. So that's where I say your schedule has to be a little bit different. while we were sitting in there, I did my follow-ups. I did my scheduling of posts. I checked in. I did some invites. I posted in my groups. I did all of that while sitting in the emergency room feeling like absolute crap with all 3 of my children running around like wild animals. But I got it done because it doesn't take a lot of time if you just get in and you just get out. So my point, there are no excuses. You can find a schedule that works, but don't overthink it. Do the things that are going to move your business forward. You don't see on here me allotting an hour to making really cool graphics because I don't do that. I actually switched to using a really simple app because I used to spend way too much time on PicMonkey because I didn't want to invite. So you just have to do the basic things. Don't overthink it. This is my very last slide. But these are 2 great quotes from The Compound Effect. The first one, a daily routine built on good habits and disciplines separates the most successful among us from everyone else. A routine is exceptionally powerful. There's a reason. And it's because when you fall on routine, you're doing the same things day in and day out. And over time, they are going to compound. When you're talking to people, for example, when you're inviting 3 people every single day, well, by the end of that month, you will have invited 90 people if you're only inviting 3 people a day. By the end of that month, that's a lot of conversations that you have going. That's a lot of people that you've written down. That's a lot of people that you can now follow up with. And those are a lot of people that over time are going to continue following you, are going to want to join your groups, are going to be interested in what you are doing. It's going to compound. Your biggest challenge isn't that you've intentionally been making bad choices. Heck, that would be easy to fix. Your biggest challenge is that you've been sleepwalking through your choices. Please, I don't think anyone can see me, and I definitely can't see any of you guys, but raise your hand if that's true, because I did that almost all of my first year of coaching. I just kind of was like, oh yeah, I want this to happen in my business, and I'm just gonna not make it happen because I wasn't making the right choices. I wasn't being intentional. I wasn't showing up. I wasn't making business hours. I wasn't sticking to a plan, and I was having far too much fun on PicMonkey. I wasn't doing the things like inviting or connecting or talking to new people or putting myself out there. I was just doing the flowery stuff. Be intentional about the things that you want to happen. Take your goals that you have made for this year, and instead of giving up on them, instead of saying, well, they're never going to happen because of whatever, say, okay, well, that's what I want to do by the end of the year. How do I break that down into, a monthly thing? And then how do I break that down into a daily thing? What daily things do I have to do in order to get to that goal? Generally speaking, you're going to have to do all of the vitals. That's what you have to do. You have to do all of the vitals to get to whatever your goal is. It doesn't matter if that is, even if that is just you have a fitness goal by the end of the year. Do the vitals. You're going to better your mindset, and you are going to show up for your workout and drink your shake every day. Those 2 things all on its own are going to get you to that fitness goal. You're doing those things every single day. So it doesn't matter what your goal is at the end of the year. Make sure that you're doing those things. Make sure that you're setting time to make a schedule. Make sure that you're being intentional, because when you're intentional, those goals will happen. If you're not intentional, then they're not going to happen. They're not going to happen. So that's all I've got for you guys. If you guys have any questions, though, I am more than happy to answer them.
Dude, you're such a good speaker.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you.
There are a few questions that I'll ask you.
Okay.
Gabriella wants to know, Emily, do you have a few examples of invites you use for your cold market and people you're not in touch with as of lately? Or are you just really focused on connecting before inviting?
Okay, that's a really great question, because I don't like cold invites. I don't like to do them. Because I don't feel like they are authentic to me. So I never just reach out to somebody unless they have been interested in something that I've posted about or whatever. My biggest thing that has worked really, really well in my business, and it doesn't matter, because I've had some of my coaches say this, because my transformation is so big in comparison to some other people. Every time I post a transformation of me, of a challenger, of a fellow coach, every single time, and I get people that comment on it or like it, I reach out to every single one of those people, every single one. And I say thank you for their support, because we live in a world that's so focused on negativity that just being genuine and saying thank you for being positive, for sharing, 2 seconds of their life to share support, that opens up like a whole world of conversation, because they're either going to be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I have health and fitness goals. Or they're going to say, oh yeah, I'm already into health and fitness, which opens me up to like learn more about them. And I can go either way with my invite later on. Am I going to invite them to a challenge group, or am I going to mention the coaching opportunity? So that's how I generally invite, is through my posts, but that would be my biggest thing.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how you said, like, just kind of opening the floodgates to a relationship, no matter what way it is. Like, when I think about invites, I don't ever mean I'm sending a message with a couple sentences that say, hey, I run these groups, do you want to join it? It's kind of like finding whatever way is authentic to you that works, that you don't feel weird about. And I have noticed, like, when I've shared your transformation, you do go on all of the comments and say, thank you so much. And you like every single one of them, and you take the time to do that, which Gary Vaynerchuk actually talks about a lot. He talks about a lot of social media presence people, they do the work, like the social media posts, but they don't go out of their way to actually interact with the people who are taking time, 2 seconds out of their day, like you said, to say, good job, congratulations, you look awesome, whatever it is. I mean, it took them mental capacity to stop and write on something. And he talks about how much weight that carries if you are the person who reaches out first. And then that just opens it up. So then your next message could be, hey, well, have you ever thought about that? So it's a great way to segue into that kind of relationship. Gabriella said, awesome, that helps. Thank you, Emily. Everyone said, great job. So much good info. No questions. That was perfect. Thanks, Emily. Great job, Emily. That was just what I needed to hear right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think mainly the couple things that stood out to me is that, we hear so much about like consistency and vital behaviors. And Andrew loved your analogy, by the way, of the hospital vitals. He was like, ooh, biology. No, but it makes a lot of sense. It's like the main components of your everyday. Are you breathing? Is your heart pumping correctly? Is there blood in your system? And that's really, honestly, the lifeblood of the business, right? Like, if you're not doing those things, how could you possibly extend your hand to other people to do the same things? And I think a lot of times it gets said so much, so it gets lost in translation, kind of like, oh yeah, vital behaviors, I get it, I'll do it. And it takes every single time. Like, I love that you're reading or rereading, I forget what you said, Compound Effect. That was one of the books that legitimately changed my life, like my entire life. There's one example in there, I don't know if you've gotten to it yet, but he talks about how this shoe shine lady that he used to watch all the time spends all this time reading these graphic novels, like fiction novels. And she was a really hard worker and had the capacity to be a hard worker, but she literally would spend like hours of her day in this storybook that was doing nothing to help her. And he's talking about, imagine all those minutes and hours that you spend escaping, and they add up to something in the end, nothing that benefits you. But imagine if she put that time into something little by little every single day that was filling her cup. I don't even know if I'm doing that analogy justice, but that like blew my mind, because I used to be a person who would spend hours reading books like that or watching TV or videos or whatever before I was a coach. And the idea that those invites every single day and those books every single day and actually spending that time doing something that will get you further will compound, like how you did the math of if you invite 3 people every single day, by the end of the month, that's 90 people. Like, you don't often think of it like that. It's like, oh my gosh, there's 3 people every day. But then when you look at the end of the month and think 90 people, that's a shit ton of people to talk to. But overall, I mean, your message was awesome. You keep it simple, you keep it real. You share every single day your transformation in some way, shape, or form, which I love. And share really transparently. Like, I love how you share that you are going through a tough time right now, but you're getting through it. You're using the tools that you've been taught here. So thank you so much. What an awesome call.
Oh, no problem. I'm glad that it helped.
Yeah, there's a ton. I don't actually know if you can see comments after the live stream is done. But if you cannot, there's a ton of comments. But I'm so proud of you. I always am. I cannot wait to see you in
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So excited to escape.
If you have not seen the itinerary for our leadership retreat, it's insane. Like, we're taking a private yacht to a private island, having a picnic, coming back, massages, paddleboard yoga. It's insane. I cannot wait to see you all the way from Canada.
In my ice storm. It's an ice storm right now. Like, what?
No.
Yeah, like I slipped down my driveway. Like, it's like this much ice on my car. Like, not, it's.
Well, it was like 75 today. But you're coming here. You're coming here. So it's not mean.
I know, only 2 more weeks and I can escape.
Yes. But I love you. Thank you. And I'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.